So hello, I'm Lim Zhenyun. I'm the manager at the Fat to Do Cafe near like section 14, right? It was yeah, section 14. So firstly, the shop is has been founded by multiple people. Like they were like groups of buddy. They joined together. They are like by the older my boss. They were like I think like 4 or 5, and then it was pre-COVID. Yeah, and then there were like some, usually people have ambition like when you're young, and then they decided to start up this coffee cafe. Although it's a cafe, but we usually primarily focus on our food, our main dishes. So we actually have provided some very great value menus to like penetrate like or compete with the other competitors, such as like I remember it was like 3 years ago they introduced like a chicken chop with some spaghetti. There was like 10, like out of the 10 customer, like 7 would just order it and then they would just share. But over time we also need to know that in order to get like long-term sustainability, we also need to like do some a la carte and then provide some maybe some like those main dishes to like in order to control our costs, maybe or this profit margin is larger like that. From my knowledge, I think that at first our food design, right, like how we do the plating, I wouldn't say no effort, but still there were less effort. The plates we were using, all those type of stuff. But eventually, as like you say, it evolves, right? More customers are more like, how would I say, I prefer more stylish dish. So actually we have done waffle in our menu, and then we also have some cakes that are very good for photos I would say. But including all this decoration, previously it wasn't here one. And all this lightning, we actually done some like adding some more design, more decoration, and then even our board games here. Actually this board game, I think it's a very cool design. I wouldn't say that we have positioned us like very differently, but I still think we are a family restaurant. Okay, so firstly, I do think Grab is of course a good thing. It has helped with the economy as much. The first thing is that the retired or the layoff workers or any others, they can just like apply for a Grab with a car that are within like 10 years or 5 years, I forgot, to apply for the Grab driver license. So my uncle is actually like a disability. He's something, I'm not sure what's wrong with him, but I heard he has a okay car. But I think the digital such as Grab has provided him an opportunity to like work, to like try to function as a human.
Overall, you view the emergence of digital tools as positive.
Yes, positive. I will try to give you an example, like a scenario lah. So this scenario is that maybe if you're walking into the restaurant, there's a long queue time and you need to wait a long time for food. Actually, there is a trade-off actually. So I'm talking about from a restaurant view, okay? So for example, there are like 10 tables here, okay? So of course they are walking, they will order in store or anything like that, right? But however, if a customer orders at Grab or they order for pickup, right? If you're talking about this scenario, they order for pickup, there will still be the 11 customer for their like according to the queue. So you're taking a break for like at 12, right? And then you try to order pickup. But however, you say, the pickup is 30 minutes. Then okay, I continue my work first, then I will delay my rest to 12:30. I pick up the food, then only my rest time, my break time starts from 12:30 to 1:30. So I do not think it helps to cut queue time from a business point of view. It's just that the customer have their expectations set. Back then when we were doing Grab, right, we do reach a wider market, but however it's too much for us because we are like understaffed. But however, if we hire more staff, it's not worth it I would just say, because usually at night, at noon, there are not much people. So we have actually decided to disable Grab and then just focus on our working experience lah. Because it was disaster. It was imagine like full house here, right? And then Grab was like beep, beep, at the counter beep, 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 beep. If you're like penetrating the market, it does help. Yeah, people will like try look they can search you out or maybe they can show across. Yeah. Actually, in our businesses like right here, I would say that we are on a how is it like horizontal? You know what I mean? Like, is it like yeah, in a straight line is like horizontal. Yeah, actually like each of us like can give our input to our owners like bosses lah. So back when like example we are doing the Grab right, but it's too much for us, then we will say that it's really too much and the profit margin is not worth it. Okay, just disable it and we'll focus on it. We do not decide what to set up. The market does, you know what I mean? So example, if you're still using cash, of course we according to law we must accept cash, right? But however, it has evolved into like previously using cash and then using touch and go, use it to it now and cards. So actually, I do not think that we are the one who are setting up. Instead of that, we are the one adapting to. The digital tool has actually helped businesses to change their way doing business. So for example, back in the old gen, people would used to count cash flow like this month how many money were made and then everything will be in paper. But however, right now those are enterprise resourcing planning system. There are also different types of Oracle, and then there are also different types of tools, and they will just show your sales, and then accountability. If according to the sales, right, they are missing like 100 or 200 bucks, someone will have to take responsibility. You can easily track instead of like using the paper and people can manipulate it, but system you can't manipulate. How much you key in, and then the real data will connect to our phones or something like that. Yeah. So I do think that is one type of security, and then also more convenient. But however, there are also some old gen that couldn't use, like they are not familiar with the use of technology, and I do think that it's hard to say lah, but I do think the new way is more convenient, but I also don't reject the old way, like you get me, like. Okay, so firstly, like I mentioned earlier, our target customer is the office nearby. So I wouldn't say that the technology could help us expand our market, but if we make a scenario we are trying to expand, we want to reach more market. Firstly, I think that it helps us to like define like using AI as a reference, for example okay, so what I can think of like using AI as a reference or what are the most popular foods right now, or does people look for value, does people look for stylish, does people look for anything else. So it can give a direction to businesses in general that can help them to find their direction or what are their target markets, and also what should they do, like they can easily instead of going to like some famous restaurant website, they can just use AI. How does Gordon Ramsay start his restaurant? Something like that. Yeah. There's also an advertisement like section, right? Like if you pay for advertisement, you will pop out at the top. Yeah. So of course that's how I say like easier way. But however, I do not think that these are the main things that can help you to expand or like maintain long-term sustainability. It all comes down to your services and your food. If I'm not wrong, I could be wrong, but this is from my experience. Okay, so firstly, at first we have enabled Grab delivery, so there will be like delivery drivers come, right? So actually, if you look at here, right, the shop is like the layout of it is already like a bit crowded if we are talking about full house wise. So like the drivers are crowded in, and then they will stay at the counter waiting for food or even standing here, right? It will just make the whole restaurant congest. So that's the first problem of it. And next up is our workers wise. So actually we have evaluated like whether it's worth it to employ another employee or something like that. Employing some employee will cost like 2,000 to 3,000. So it's not actually worth. And then next up is overburden us. We have to focus on our main walking customer because they are main customer. So after evaluating, we think that the worst case scenario, like actually we have tried to adapt doing things faster, maybe try, but actually we have like received more complaints for our walking because they have too many long wait time. And then besides that, the employee moral also a thing. I do remember we actually have argument, very funny argument. So like as for the front, we just serve the orders, right, taking orders. After everything was settled, but the kitchen was in shambles. They were like in hot fire, in hot water. Ultimately, we have talked it out, and the worst case scenario is that we disable it. Even until now, we haven't enabled it yet. So because we couldn't handle it. Back then, we have like multiple young employees, including me. So there was no issue or no resistance. It was just like you just need to learn the way. When the thing rings, very noisy one. I remember, very noisy, and then you just press accept and you just hand it to the kitchen. That's all. But besides that, no too much resistance now. We just need to learn the way how to accept. Yeah, that's it.
It's just like a new thing that you.
Yeah, new thing. Yeah, just a new thing. If you look at our employee here, there's a auntie here. She also can use iPad. So actually, I think that like compared to back then, I'm not really sure. But back then, I think it was more complicated or not optimized, not simplified yet lah. But currently, the system we are using, it has been used for years, and it allowed us to categorize like the categories for example lunch set and then main dishes, drinks. If you set it up well, it will be less confusion and very easy. Even an old lady also can learn it lah, I would say. Even we do training, right, we will just like give a briefing like back when I was here like few years ago. Yeah, but of course I will have a mentor. Is this how just keep asking my mentor, or is this the way I do it? Is this the grilled chicken chop? Is this the way? What should I do if customer requests for remarks, or you just mark it down, or use a pen write it down, some sort of things like that. Because briefing doesn't help much. Actually, you need hands-on experience. When you get familiar with it, you will know which role or which category is that. So in F&B, I would say hands-on experience and mentoring like during the work. Yeah. Someone like, for example, like the senior or like the boss, he will just mention that I'm thinking of implementing a new post system, and then the new post system will just like improve like blah 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 the efficiency or something like that, and then all of us will like just talk about it and see how it goes, and see like what are the objections, what are the reasons, and then we just come together into a conclusion like that. Okay, so actually as an employee, I do not have the database, but I'm sure that you can access through the database lah. But that aside, actually I do think it's like your memories, because usually like when you're walking in, when you're greeting the customer, and with some familiar faces, you will example talk about, hey, why did you not come yesterday? Hey, how's your day going? Like, so like in our case, a real life example is that in our restaurant, there's a guy who likes to every time tapao take away the Malaysian style. So actually, when he comes, right, what he do is just pay money. Not every day, but every time he comes, it's just the same order with like the spaghetti with some added telur mata lah. So I would say it's like the relationship lah. You know what I'm trying to say, like the relationship, like more personal, because we, of course, like it's hard to like remember everyone, or intuition also. Of course, we did try to like engage with our like market audience or like customer more through like those official festival posting, like Happy Chinese New Year, Selamat Hari Raya, Adi Fitri, and those type of stuff. And then second, we also publish our like off day in case there are any day off we want to, like emergency day off we want to take, we will just publish at the Facebook. But although I don't think many people see see lah. Another thing is like WhatsApp. Yeah, WhatsApp. This is like I would say like the most influential thing to us lah. So by establishing a WhatsApp, there will be customer that like you said, they want to pick up. They will just like message your WhatsApp. Oh, for example, 1:30 pick up spaghetti, and then another is that they will reserve. For example, like yesterday, I think there were like 24 person reserve table like the back there, and then they will just like pre-order first, you know. So actually, it's convenient for us because when they do pre-order, right, we can get to know what are their orders first, so we can prepare in advance, and then only they arrive. Yes, like in F&B, right? You go to a restaurant more often walking in compared to like doing pickups or delivery, right? Pick up foods or like food deliveries. Of course, like walking in, we will establish more, I would say, rapport lah. Is it the word? Yeah, rapport between like the restaurant, and the customers. I know this has become a viral, like dancing, like wearing the uniform dancing, right? But no, I don't think it's our cup of tea. We are only using our social media to like official announcement, like it's like, for example, Happy Chinese New Year. We are taking which day we are taking day offs, and next is that like I mentioned, WhatsApp, the customer can book reserve or also order for pickup instead of Grab. Also a good thing, if they order Grab, maybe kena tax. Of course, Grab pushes to a wider audience, but it's too much for us, like I said. But if those customers they are familiar with us, they want to do pickup like 1 or 2 per day, still manageable. Yeah, it's still fine. And then like as a small restaurant, of course we don't have a dedicated accountant or accounting department here, so we actually use like a third party. So every time when we get the receipt, right, we will need to paste it on a paper, like for the accountant to do recording. You know what I mean, like a A4 paper, and then the receipt will be pasted like in four in one page. Do think that paper-based has half paper-based like what I did earlier, like taking the slip to the kitchen. I do think that there is one advantage for it. So for example, if a customer that would like to cancel or change his order, right, instead of keying in again in the system, we will just go into the kitchen and just tell the chef or just take out the paper slip. You know what I mean? It will benefit lah. So because I've experienced a customer that want to change their side from fries to mashed potato, and then sometimes I will just run into hey, this one mashed potato, no need fries. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would say it's a full waiting time actually, because we only have one iPad. I'm not sure that, I think that's our problem, not like the digital problem, but it will cause a bottleneck. So for example, when I'm taking an order, right, when customer want to do payment, right, it will be stuck. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I know it could be fixed by having another iPad, but if you talk about the bottleneck, I do think that that's one of the bottlenecks. So I do not think it's difficult. I think it's more to like seamless, you know. Because for example, cash will always be the king, you know. Like even by the law, we need to accept cash. So cash will still remain while we integrate like QRs and like the card machine. And actually, the card machine is actually like you do not like. I wouldn't say you need some knowledge of it, but when you go to the bank and just apply one, right, and then link to your account, and then they will get like I think like a few, like I'm not sure how many percent, but they will still get some percent of it. The bank will like tax it lah. But I do not think that is that hard. Like it does not require any certification. As for Grab, right, it's also the same thing. Just like I think you need to like also the same thing apply, and then it's not that hard. Such as the driver thingy, it's not that hard. Just prove that you are legitimate businesses. Yeah, it's not that hard. Actually, I think all this technology integrated seamless one. I think it's a very bad thing lah. Okay, so I will just like my example. My father was like 60 years old, and then he does have a debit card, but example, use touch and go, and then he has like eyes problem. So when you eliminate the cash, how would all this old generation or like people like pay? Although I do think that touch and go and QR payment doing now, bank cards are more convenient and more safety, because you will get robbed, you can just like freeze your bank or something like that. But cash is still the king lah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Actually, we do not rely on that. Actually, we rely on like the fixed amount of interest. You know what I mean? So, because we are trying to control our costs, so that we are not like going overboard, or instead of relying on the data. It's like sometimes the demand forecasts are not reliable. So we will just like order a fixed amount. For example, 100 chicken chop. So 100 chicken chop will for this week. So if we look at it, if it remains like 20 at like Thursday, then we will try to go and buy more before we go to work. So we will restock on time instead of like ordering more. Like, because the amount we order, right, is not large enough for like. We have not adopted many technology, but if you talk about like adopting a new one, like two options is that one kali terus adopt, and another is like doing small testing phases. I think it depends on like the cost and the difficulty. So if like, for example, if a post system is, if the new post system we are adopting is like costly, and then it's hard to integrate with our current ones, of course we will like do it slowly. We will try to make it like maybe for the first 2 weeks and see how it goes. But however, that's not the final decision. Before we like, I think licensing, is that the term, purchase license for the thing before the trials end. And then depend on the cost and difficulty. So another case that you mentioned, QR, right? Actually QR difficulty is easy, right? Affordable to implement too, right? Just go to the bank or something like that. So for that one, it will be like one kali adopt. You know what I mean? It depends on difficulty and cost. Actually, we do not use any metrics. Instead of that, we will just use our experience, go with the flow, play by ear for us. So like, for example, if a scenario is that we are not adopting full system, right, we will just like, maybe some handwriting will be messy. We will look at this, like, for example, we'll look at different terms. So if you are not using full system, everything will be by handwriting, and then it will be cleared out and then sent to the back. And then of course there will be foreigners. That can't, like, they are not familiar with the words English. Maybe some. So for example, like some people write 3 like 5, you know what I mean? Like no similarity, but some of them can't recognize it. We will evaluate that, and then depends on our efficiency of the processor of the whole daily routine. And then if it is good, I do not think we will implement another technology. But however, like I mentioned, if someone, when we are in a lunch rush, and then the handwriting will be like very ugly and then hard to read, it will be better for us to think about another way, maybe example implementing a post system. So it will be like recognizing the problem, diagnosing the problem, and then only consider whether it's worth it to evaluate a system, and then only evaluate, then only like feedback, instead of using any theory metrics that we are not familiar with. Yeah.
So it's definitely more like employee experience on like if technology is working or not. So it's still definitely
recognizing the need for the technology. I would like rephrase it to like, what's the biggest challenge to like when adopting a technology So it's the uncertainty, I would say So we have not implemented much technology here, but for example, if I were to implement a digital board, like not using paper anymore, using a digital board, I will feel like uncertainty. I will keep looking at the board whether it's the correct order, whether the customer or someone has altered the order, whether the customer has cancelled, you know what I mean? And after finishing the order, maybe when I'm in a rush or like in a panic state, I will just forget to confirm the order so that it stays there, and the next employee or my colleague will look at the order. Hey, why the order still here, and then redo it again, causing like confusion among us, and then about more trouble lah. But I do think that there is a like a state lah, it's a process you need to go through and implement something new, and then I believe that it will get better and better, right? And as for technology wise, I do think that it will also get better and advanced in the future too. It will continue to be serving the humans more conveniently. So guys, this is end of our interview, and thank you for the interviewer for having me here. Although I think that the technologies, modern technologies are getting more advanced and convenient for like humans as such as us or businesses or any others. But however, I do think that the older generation ways such as like cash payments or like the paper-based thing, it should be remain like that when the lighter has no gas, right, you must like start fire by using rocks and woods, right? So that's it for my outro, and I hope you guys have a great future. That's it.